Hey, it's Richard Geller here. If you owe credit cards and you're afraid of getting sued, you're looking to settle but you're concerned you may be sued, this is going to be an extremely important video. It's going to be very short, but I think you're going to be very, very glad that you watched it. It may be the most important video that you've watched all year. When you get sued by a credit card company, by a credit card bank or collection agency to collect on a credit card, what happens is you have the ability to file an answer. If you file an answer, then there's a trial. So don't ignore it. You want to file an answer. You can file a handwritten answer. What you do is you call the clerk, you get a form, and you file the answer. And you can even handwrite it. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice, but you're entitled to know what your options are. So you should answer it. Now there'll be a trial, and at the trial what you can do is you have the ability to appear and defend yourself. Now most people think, oh, what am I going to do to defend myself? I don't have a defense. Well, let me tell you that there's two areas where the credit card companies fall down consistently in proving their case. And what they have to do is they have to prove their case legally speaking. That means that there's some technicalities that are involved. There's two. One of them is prove that they own the debt. They have to prove that they own the debt. Now, a lot of times if it's a collection agency, there's going to be a chain of title or custody between the time that the bank that you dealt with, let's just say First Bank, I'm just making that up, and the collection agency, there's a chain of title where it was assigned from one to the other. So the first thing is, does the person suing you have the debt? Do they own the right to collect the debt? Do they legally show that they own the debt? And the other thing is that they have to do is they have to prove that you are the one that used the money. They have to prove it. Okay, you don't have to prove that you didn't use the money. They have to prove that you did. So I'm going to tell you a story right now, and this may change your life here. Pay attention. It's very important. I had a very, very close person close to me, and she got in over her head in credit card debt. And she got those checks where those checks where you sign the checks and then you get a cash advance to those checks, cash advance checks. So her signature was on these checks. And they sued her. And she appeared. And she challenged the case. And you know what? They could not prove that she had actually signed those checks because they didn't have copies of the checks that they brought with them. Their lawyer did not have copies of the checks. Their lawyer could not prove that she owed the debt. They couldn't prove that they had standing to collect the debt. The judge dismissed the case with prejudice. It's gone. So she has that money and she doesn't have to pay it back. And they awarded, she had a lawyer that she had hired. They awarded her sanctions and attorney's fees for that because they want to punish the other side for basically bringing a frivolous case. So I'm not telling you this to give you advice about how you should deal with this and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. I'm just telling you that if you answer a case and you go in and you appear, chances are very good that the creditor cannot prove to a legally required standard that they have the right to collect the debt and that you owe the money, that you actually took the money. They can't prove it. Now, I want to warn you, there are a few creditors, a few banks that are very, very good at bringing their documentation to court. And you're not going to have a chance against them this way. But most of them do not have good documentation. And if they sue, the lawyers who do these lawsuits don't have any of the original paperwork that they need to meet the legally required standard that the law requires. In addition to that, let's just say that you lose the case anyway. Let's say you go to court and you lose. Then it just is a collection action. Hey, it's a judgment. It's a judgment. And, you can settle the judgment. You can settle it for a dime on the dollar or whatever. If you can avoid paying on the judgment. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen with people where they can't, they can't pay. And it's just a thing that's settled just like anything else. So it's just not a big deal even if you lost. So I just want to encourage you to settle your credit card debts if you can't pay them. You can avoid bankruptcy. When you do settle, you can do so in a way that actually raises your FICO score dramatically from where it is. Even if you have settled and you're in payments, if you haven't worked out the credit arrangements, you still can. There's still time to do that in many cases. If you get sued, don't have fear. Just answer file an answer, appear, and it's good to have a lawyer, but if you don't have a lawyer, you can do it yourself. It's just another step in the collection process. You'll get through this. You can do very, very well. If this tip is helpful, here's what you do. Go to creditcardreliefformula.org if you haven't already, and get on my list if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever. And otherwise, just subscribe to the YouTube channel and you'll get other videos that I'm making. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And good luck with everything. It's really not so bad. In fact, it's really not that big of a deal. Talk to you soon.